Let's rock and roll. Let's go. 151. That's a pretty potent alcoholic beverage. It's also my 151st solo episode, so I'll try not to disappoint. I'll try to be highly potent, highly alcoholic, a high proof, if you will. And this is one that if you've listened to me over the course of 1,100 and change episodes, over 4.5 years or so, of doing content here. This will not surprise you as the NFL season is upon us. And you know you're going to get one of these. Heck, you're going to get a second one soon too. And it's not going to make everybody happy. Hell, it's going to make the breakers out there probably pretty pissed off because they need to have somebody that they can cheer. They need to have somebody they can pump up. It's time to sell, folks. And you know what's coming. I'll try to make this little clippable thing, but I'm going to have to do something else because I need the card ladder charts behind me, man. I need those indexes behind me to just show you how crazy the run-up has been and why now is the time to sell. Have you figured out who I'm talking about yet? Have you figured out that you're going to see my ugly mug pissing people off and being right again? I'll be right again. I was right with Jalen Hurts. I hope you guys who were in the chat commenting, telling me what an idiot I was. I hope you sold every one of your cards that you had of him. I was right to sell Aaron Judge. Even look what he's doing this year. It doesn't matter. His cards are still not priced as high as when I said sell. I love the Yankees. I love Aaron Judge. Gotta sell. You gotta sell when the chart is crazy. You gotta sell somebody when the chart is just ridiculously pumped. When a chart looks like, can you see that? Nah, it's kind of blurry. You can't even see that chart. Look at you kind of see it. See that little, when the chart looks like this on a 6-month chart, during a time where someone has not played, has 100% run up from the offseason till now, you have to sell. But I'm going to actually give you some research because there's someone that I don't love. I don't love him. I definitely don't love him at the prices he's selling for now. Have you figured it out yet? I'm not going to tell you to sell Jordan because everybody buys Jordan and the Jordan cabal comes out and attacks me. But there is someone I don't love. Jordan Love. If you have his cards, sell Jordan Love. Now, I should just stop the episode there so everyone could just run over to eBay or wherever it is and sell your Jordan Love cards right now. Bunch of reasons why. But I'm not. I'm actually going to give you research. I'm going to give you the backdrop. I'm going to give you everything. I will support this because there will be a 1-minute clip on Instagram today where I say sell your Jordan Love and people will attack. What I want you to do in the comments, if you watch this, is tell them to go watch this episode where I support what I'm saying. With actual support. I support what I'm saying. I promise you, I will. Before I do, I will tell you that if you go back in several episodes before the start of 2 seasons ago, I was a buy Jordan Love. It was a time where he and Aaron Rodgers were still on the Packers. And there was a possibility he could either get traded. Rodgers might not play. It was crazy, kind of like it was 2022 season, right? Who knew what would happen? And it was his cards were nothing because he hadn't played. And I bought a ton of them. I bought a bunch of them. I bought flawless RPAs. I bought National Treasure RPAs. Like I spent not that much. I bought probably 10 RPAs for the price of what one would sell for now. And what I did was I watched him play in the preseason that year. I thought maybe he'd get traded. I'll hang on to him. He looked like trash. He did not look like an NFL quarterback. And I wound up selling the cards because he was not somebody I wanted to hold on to. Now, hell, that was the wrong play. If I would have held him for 2 years and had those cards now, woo, I'd be rolling in it. But I'm going to tell you Had I done that, now would be when I would sell. Because Jordan Love is fool's gold. I'll say it again. Jordan Love is fool's gold. I can go on a tear listing quarterbacks who signed humongous contracts coming off of a season where they played well at the end of the year. Hell, I can name people who are big contracts to start for a team after only having one or two good games at the end of the year when they were backup quarterbacks and took the reins and you name it, the whole deal, right? Looking at Jordan Love's numbers, let's take a look because the prices are crazy for his cards. Everybody's holding him out as this fantastic quarterback. Let's take a little bit of a look because the prices, right? If we want to go through here with the fun stuff, just using the index for the last 6 months, Jordan Love's cards are up 101%. 101%. That's between February and now. Total offseason. Hasn't set foot on the field. So there is nothing to support that. And that's an increase. I mean, it was more obviously, at the end of the season last year, they increased. I'm not even counting that. I'm just talking about the card prices. His index have doubled since the season ended to now. He hasn't set foot on the field. All he's done is signed a big contract, right? Nothing to indicate that we need to double his prices. Hasn't won a Super Bowl in the last 6 months that I saw. All right. So let's talk. Let's talk about the numbers. Jordan Love had a spectacular run at the end of the season last year. They needed that spectacular run to get him in the playoffs. The way that his cards are priced and the expectations, and obviously the contract he just signed, makes you think that Green Bay was this world-beating team last year. They finished 10-9, did not win their division. They had to win 3 games at the end of the season last year in a row because they were sitting at 7-9. Even with his spectacular play towards the end of the year, they were a losing team until running off a 3-game win streak to win those last 3 games, get in the playoffs at 10-9. I'm even going to go back further. I'm going to go back 8 games. We're going to look at the last 8 games of his season because I submit to you that the price increase that you've seen assumes that Jordan Love is going to have numbers that are like what he showed in those last 8 games of the season. But here's what I did for you. I looked at who he played in those last 8 games. I looked at his stats in those last 8 games. Let's go through it because he played teams like Carolina with a 2-15 record playing for nothing. He did not play in those last 3 games a team with a winning record. All 3 teams had losing records. As a matter of fact, during those last 8 games, the combined record of the teams he played was 61-77. His team finished 6-2 in those games. That's a nice end to the season. If you finish 10-9, ending 6-2, we do a little math there. That means that the team was 4-7. 1 carry the 7. 4-7 until they got into a stretch at the end of the season, those last 8 games, where they played teams that were 61-77 combined. So when people look at that run he went on, in those 8 games, he had 18 touchdowns and 1 interception. That's absurd. That's amazing. Just an amazing, amazing stat. But what about when he plays good teams? Right? What about when he's playing from behind and has to make tough decisions, which is what separates the good quarterbacks from the bad quarterbacks? What about when he's got to scramble, when he's got to actually throw? Sure, when your team is up and you're winning, you don't have to take that 50-50 shot down the field. You can play it a little safe. You can beat up on Carolina and finish with 2 touchdowns and no interceptions. Because you don't need to make plays. You don't need to be that guy. So let's look at his full play from last year. Because when Jordan Love was tied or ahead during 2023, he threw 14 touchdowns and only 1 interception, 1,667 yards with a passer rating of 107.2 when he was tied or ahead. And you're usually tied or ahead when your team is 6-2 playing against teams that are 61-77. So, of course, that run he had at the end with 18 touchdowns and only 1 interception, 14 of those touchdowns and 1 interception were from when he was tied and ahead. I'm certain of it because we looked at the numbers. So what's your follow-up question? Well, what did he do when he was behind? If he had 107 passer rating, 14 touchdowns, and 1 interception when he was tied or ahead. When he was behind, 13 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, and 80 passer rating. Pedestrian at best. Shows that when he is pressured, when he is stressed, when he has to make decisions, he's not making good ones. Now, what I like to do, and what I did with Jalen Hurts, when I said he's a buy in the beginning of the season, I look at his schedule, the first 6, 7, 8 games, this was two years ago, look like he's going to win every one of them, then sell when he's 7-1, 8-1. That's when I did my Jalen Hurts. I mean, because you had the same run-up, 100% run-up that you see right now with Jordan Love. Well, Jordan Love gets to play Jalen Hurts in week 1. An 11-6 Philly team. Yeah. Which one of your quarterback heroes that you're pulling for in a repack is going to be 1-0, and which one's going to be 0-1? Am I wrong about Jalen Hurts or am I wrong about Jordan Love? I can't be wrong about both. One of them is going to start the season with a big L. Philly's got a heck of a defense. If I were a Jordan Love holder right now, I'd be pretty nervous about week 1 because I just saw 100% run up. And if he goes out there and doesn't have a 14 touchdown, 1 interception, 107 passer rating, people are like, what the heck happened to Jordan Love? That's a tough defense. Now, if you look at the schedule, they didn't win even with that crazy 8-game run. They didn't win the division. Why? Because Detroit is in that division. That's a good team. I think Detroit is favored to win that division. So the best case is Jordan Love doing exactly what he did last year and winning a wild card. But the rest of the teams in that division got better. The Vikings played last year with basically no quarterback. Jefferson injured here and there. The Bears got significantly better. This team has to play the Lions twice. The Bears won't just roll over for them like the team that they were last year. Remember, the Bears won 7 games last year and improved significantly this offseason. It's going to be a tougher team. Their schedule also holds the first place teams from a lot of other divisions. They play the Texans, a division winner. They play the 49ers, a division winner. They play the Dolphins. They get Detroit twice. They play some good teams. So much so that the schedule that they have, based on last year's numbers, and a lot of the teams that they have here have improved significantly. Arizona was 4-13 last year. You got to hope Green Bay wins that game when they play against Arizona. But even Arizona's a better team than they were last year. They were awful last year. But there are no cupcakes on this schedule. Their 2024 schedule, opponents 143 and 129. So the schedule that Jordan Love has to play this year has him playing teams that have winning records. Unlike when he played that 8-game stretch and the teams were 61 and 77, and he was tied or ahead a lot. I envision this season being one where he will be behind and have to make plays. And you will see the Jordan Love of 13 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, and an 80 passer rating more often than you saw the 14 touchdown, 1 interception, 107 passer rating that you saw against losing teams in situations where they were not playing for anything but a better draft pick at the end of the season. Even if these stats didn't support the sell, the run-up does. And anytime you see a chart that looks like Jordan Love's chart, you have to sell. His prices have doubled in the last 6 months. His index has doubled in the last 6 months. The cards are expensive. The cards, as I like to say, are priced for perfection. And I've just given you a full analysis of why this will not be a perfect season for Jordan Love and why I would be scared to death if I were holding his cards. Sell your Jordan Loves. Talk to you soon. Stay tuned for when I do the same thing about CJ Stroud. Bye, guys.